I want to thank my good friend, Congressman Shimkus, for this time and for this important time to honor these wonderful colleagues. Before I get started, I want to ask leave to enter into the record an article titled Philip M. Crane, Teacher, Lecturer, Author, Congressman, and Friend, written by Ed Fulner, former president of the Heritage Foundation. Mr. Speaker, I rise to pay tribute and respect to former Congressman Phil Crane, who we lost this week. As a fellow committed conservative representative of the west and northwest suburbs of Chicago, I have always had a special connection to Congressman Crane. For 35 years, he represented sizable portions of what is now the 14th Congressional District, the district I represent in Congress. When Illinois was redistricted following the 1990 census, Phil Crane was willing to give the McHenry County portion of his old district to the newer 16th district in order to present the Republican nominee, Don Manzullo, with a better chance of recapturing the district for the GOP. As he did this, arguably to the detriment of his own reelection prospects down the road. 20 years later, most of McHenry County is in the 14th Congressional District, and I'm proud to represent his former constituents who were stalwart supporters of his. When he left office in 2004, he was at the time the longest-serving House Republican. In his book, The Sum of Good Government, Crane wrote, "Once people are willing to admit the possibility of alternatives, the battle is more than half won, and the time for refinements of a conservative reform platform will be at hand." Phil pursued that platform as a leader of the conservative movement, both in and outside of Congress. He served as chairman of the American Conservative Union, a prominent think tank and advocacy organization. In 1973, he founded the preeminent conservative organization in the House, the Republican Study Committee, of which I'm a proud member. Today, the RSC is the largest member organization of the House Republicans and drives much of the conservative agenda. Congressman spent most of his career pursuing that agenda on the Ways and Means Committee. There he championed many of the ideals I and many of our shared constituents subscribe to. These include lowering taxes on everyone, simplifying the tax code so that it is fair and transparent, defending free market economics and promoting free trade with other nations. His work propelled him to become the ranking member and eventually chairman of the Ways and Means Trade Subcommittee. While there, he led the effort to pass numerous free trade agreements, including the North American Free Trade Agreement, which opened up economic opportunities with our northern and southern neighbors. He also was very active in efforts to reduce or limit government spending, and authored and supported hundreds of bills and amendments to bring overspending under control. In addition, Phil had a passion for and deep knowledge of American history. Citing historical events and the Constitution to make one's case during floor debate and public speeches is not a recent phenomenon. Congressman Crane did this regularly when fighting for his principles and policies. Every day he looked for opportunities to demonstrate his love for robust discussions on conservative ideals. But he didn't let his firm positions on issues drive a wedge between him and other members of Congress. He built relationships with those with whom he disagreed and was well-liked on both sides of the aisle, handwriting letters to colleagues, especially thoughtful notes to those who were going through tough times or had lost a relative or a loved one. Most importantly, he wrote letters to and spent time with his constituents whom he represented. To him, they were his most important relationship. They were his boss, as they are to all who are privileged to enter Congress on their behalf. Every day I strive to represent my district with the same commitment and dedication as Congressman Phil Crane did, and to stand up for the principles that make this country great. I yield back to my good friend, Congressman